Hi, my name is Quentin Adam. I'm the CEO of a company called Clever Cloud, and this is basically my day-to-day job. In fact, Clever Cloud, we're a company making something we call the platform as a service. So basically, you push your code, and we take care of everything, scalability, things like that. And it's very interesting because there is many projects from different people, from different countries, from different size of company, putting on top of Clever Cloud. And we learn a lot about how developers manage a thing, and we try to give back to the community, making a lot of content for evangelism, and say to the community, okay, we see that, it's a good idea, it's a bad idea. So this is how we work. Our industry is very, very young because we're a game changer now, but we have only 30 or 40 years history because computers are still a young thing. And what is important in a very short lapse of time, we're going from nothing to billion-dollar company with impressive marketing, scaling the world with a lot of new value. And for this, we never take some time to think how we can work and how we will work in the next 20 years. So basically, this is how we are. And if you think about that, there is an evolution in all the mankind history. And the evolution is driven by something interesting called the law of the accelerating return. And basically, it's Ray Kurzweil, who work at Google, who said that. And basically, what says this law is each time we make a technological progress, the step for the next technological progress is shorter. So the evolution of the technology will be something we accelerate dramatically. And we're in the step with the acceleration is clearly feelable for everyone in this room. So we have built many things to enhance the world because we have built the world around how we live, to enhance how we live, and to be able to manage the population growth of the mankind. So this is why the humanity is creating some tools to enhance the production and to industrialize the production. When we say industry in our field, people are a little bit afraid. But when I say industry, what I want to mean, an industry is a cost-efficient way to produce a large volume and a repeatable and scalable process to manage this large volume production. And the best way to do it at the end is to go to create something we call a commodity response to a need. By commodity, I want to say something like a pen. You never think a pen from this brand. You think a pen. It's a commodity, a pen, you know. In the 19th century, we created the industrialized way to produce manufacturing because we discovered something very important called the engine. And all the 19th century, the manufacturing process in all the mankind have been enhanced from time to time. So what we discover in the 20th century is it's a computer. And the computer is a very efficient tool to industrialize the brain power. In fact, it's the engine for the intellectual services commoditization. This is where I want to go is we're in an era of industrial revolution right now. I will give you some example because a lot of people are afraid when I say industrial revolution. If you think about comparing price at the time, it was a manual activity. Think about something like 30 years ago. You are in company when someone wants to go on a plane on the cheapest price. He takes all the catalogs and say, okay, this is the price, this is the price, this is the price. We take this. No, the buy department of a company just put an algorithm and take the lesser price. Because all the computer industry of making the math very, very accessible. Because before, we're making the math at the hand, at your own brain, and it was slow. Think about the accountability. 40 years ago, there are departments in Fortune 500 company, Fortune 500 company, were working at making the accountability. Accountability now, it's way more complicated and managed by few people with a lot of industrialized brain power to manage it. And think what's next? The translation, the image recognition process. This is allowable with machine learning, with neural network. I don't know if you know this kind of technology. It's very powerful. So right now, what we can do is we are in an industrialization process of intellectual services. Developers. We're all developers. And what we are trying to do is we are the creator of the tools. What tool is it? It's a tools to industrialize brain power. So each time we create the tools, we are crushing job. This is the way we work. And in an economy world, we are tools to improve the business, to improve life of people, and to improve the world. Because developers know how to understand the value of a process. This is the way developers work, because they know how to create a process with making money. And this is why big startups are disturbing the market, because software is eating the world. It's something said by Andreessen Horowitz. And what he say with that is developers are becoming more important to business because they rule the business and they're making new tools for powering up the business. At the beginning, software was an investment. Like 10 years ago, we created something we call the V process, where we're putting money at the beginning of a project, saying, okay, we have to build this. People are working, and deliver something at the end. Exactly if we're creating assets like real estate. Because at the beginning, we say, an accountability work, it was like I buy this, and I pay it in 5 years. So basically, it was just like a machine, like an engine, like a tool. And we consider software like this. But now, if you think about it, software is a continuous delivery service. Because if we create software, it's a way to say, okay, we can improve the software each time. So we can take the software one day and make it better the second day. And it's constant improvement, and we create process to make this happen. And for this, we use low-level things to build the process on it. And it improves continually the industrial assets of the company, the industrial assets of making new things from brain power. So basically, what we do is acting on data, manage the data to a process and data management, and after this, we're creating a data pipe. If you look at this, in just a few years, we totally changed the way we're creating software. This is a piece of code of AkaStream. It's based on Reactive Stream, new Java 8 thing. And with this simple piece of code, we manage data to put it in a process. We have arrow to say, okay, take the data there, put in this, then merge the data there, and put in this, and then out the data. So what we really do is just make the Pluggable to say we manage a pipe of data management. And we become the architect of a business factory. So basically, developers are no more the blue collar. They are there to making the business, and they need to connect the vision of business, because developer is no longer a job. It's a point of view. It's a point of view of people able to make skills. There are business architect skills to say, okay, there is no more problem. we will industrialize a way to do this better. And there are build-up of brand industrial tools to achieve the next step of the progress. Okay? So, we are creating the software. We are creating frameworks, and we have some build tools, very interesting. We have source management, GitHub, and this kind of thing are very powerful thing. We have things like continuous integration, and we have fully automated software factory now. This is an industrial way to think. And after this, we deploy it on server. A server with an operation system running in a middleware, and we put this on a monitoring system to say what is going around, managing some backup system. Do you think it's an industrial way to think? Because you cannot take a full software factory and say, okay, there's no problem, we will put it on a server. You will say, okay, we have the cloud, we have infrastructure as a server. Yes, you can use virtual server as on demand, but there is still some very manual task to perform because they just one server. It just provides you raw resources to manage. And it's not pluggable. When I say pluggable, I want to think about electricity. Electricity, at the beginning of the 20th centuries, when we're making electricity and speaking with factory, they own the electricity production. There are near a river making generator working and things like that. And this is the way they were producing things. And all the production line was poisoned by the electricity production, because if the generator you use produce, I don't know, 30 volt continually, or maybe 70 alternatively voltage, all of what you build after have to be poisoned by the way you build the electricity, because it's not a standard, it's not a community. It creates a deep dependency linking. No, you're not thinking about how it's producing the electricity you use to powering up your laptop. You're just using electricity like a commodity. People building power plants and deliver standard commodity electricity. And you haven't electricity project. Who have electricity project except power plant? But today people have hosting project. So this is not the industrialized way to think about it, because all the operational stuff on server today are tailored thing made by people. I don't understand that. Because if you think about it, production has to be perfect. And the human is not perfect. So basically, why there is still human managing servers today? Just think about it. 10 seconds of losing Amazon.com will be cost a huge pack of money. You cannot rely on human to be sure it's perfect. It cannot be. You have to rely on something like Ultron. Because if you think about it, the vision of the world of Ultron is it has to be perfectly safe. So I will kill all the humans, so it will not be no more death. And this is the way you want to think about a production system. It has to be working. We import, you have to take the parameters of all it's working and say, okay, let's make this working like this. This is why at Clever Cloud, when there is an SSH connection, this is red alert. There is a user on the server. Why? It's not the place of the user. I don't know if you have seen the Tron Legacy film. Tron Legacy, there is a problem with the program saying, there is the user. User happen to be a place where we need like perfection, and the perfection is mathematics, it's algorithmic. So this is why we need to build hosting platform. The standard way to think about software and just say, okay, we haven't to think about it. There is no more project. It's just taking electricity from the power plant. It's simple. There is no place for ops in this new world. We just will create platform managers. So what I called a platform. A platform is basically giving the hardware, the software, and the services all together. I think the work of a developer had to stop at the Git push. So developer creates code, send it to the factory, and that's end. The application have to deploy by themselves. They have to decide, okay, now take the application and deploy it. And there is no downtime when you deploy an application. The platform have to manage this kind of thing because you need to be able to put new version in production without to think, okay, it may be a business issue if I put this in production now. Because if there is downtime, you have to connect with business, with marketing, with all the things to say, okay, maybe it can be a downtime. Putting a new version at the production have to be your decision because you make new things, not a business decision. You have to using build system because when you're using build system from your code, you can be sure of what it's outed by the code. So it's no more like it's hosted or developer thing build it. You can be able to assemble all the product in an industrial way. Or maybe if you cannot do something no more operational system specific, use Docker as the operation system builder. Not virtual machine, it's not the work of Docker, but just building things like you can always run your code with just make run. And make run is the only way to launch a project. The platform has to manage the scaling. It's not the work of developer or ops. It's the work of software to decide if there is enough resource or not to managing the software. And the outscaling has to be handled by the platform too. So all the platform have to be working on the failure. Failure of a software, it's logic. We're building software of thousands of billions of lines of code together because we're using libraries, middlewares, and a lot of things together. And it's become too complicated to be sure it's not failing. So the platform has to handle the failing of a software. A software will fail is a software well logically code by failing and handling the backup policy, the security. You know that only 5% of servers in the world I consider like secure. Because people don't make security updates. Never. They never work on what is the basic configuration of this thing. They never think about that because there are too many preoccupied about building codes. It's not the same job. It's a full-time job. And it's a new job of platform manager. And I deeply think it's important. And it's not the thing to do or think for developers. Developer has to be free about what they do, just like we did with electricity. Just thinking about that. This is the end of server management because you can respect commodity standards. A commodity standard is this way to think, okay, I haven't to think about what is this. I use a pen, I use electricity, I use toilet paper. It's commodity standards. It's commodity. You know what is it before thinking about it because it's standards. And you're not calling people when you're installing your new TV. People of the power plant don't care about that. They give you electricity and you get the electricity and the TV get the electricity like commodity. So we need to work as an industry. When I say this, all the people for software craftsmanship and things like that say to me, yeah, you're crazy, we are craftsmen. It's not the way I think. When I say industrialize is building scalable production line for intellectual services, industrialization, because that's our job. So now, developers are everywhere. And when I say everywhere, it's mean there is a war out there. And the war is about economics. And the problem is developers are able to produce production line for new style of business. So we need developer to rule big company. This is the way I think about industrializing the server management. So thank you for listening, and if you have some questions, I hope. Thank you.
So how mature do you think is this industry? I mean, when will we be able to use these services as electricity?
I think you can do that right now. There is just few companies making platform as a service. There is Google, there is Microsoft Azure, there is Heroku, there is Clever Cloud, of course. And this is what we try to achieve. And it's a shift in your development process to think, okay, how you can use it at electricity. But yes, you can do it right now. At just the beginning of this market. Yeah.
There are many factors to take into consideration.
Yeah, you can all put it in your monitoring software, and the monitoring software can be able to decide when it's important to upscale or downscale. It's basically what we do. Think about that. It's complicated to decide when you upscale or outscale a platform because you don't know what is going on. Because basically today, operating people are managing servers. So they put some binary on the servers running on processor, and they don't know how it is working. But what we do at Platform as a Service Builder, we take all the knowledge you can deeply have of an application. So we know what is the dependency, how is it working, how is it right to the file system, how is it consuming network, how is it using the CPU. And we bring this to thousands of applications. So we deeply know what is the regular monitoring pattern of an application using these dependencies, these dependencies, these dependencies. And with all this kind of big data, we can make decisions on the monitoring process based on this kind of data. Do you understand what I want to mean with that? So you cannot do that when you are a small team of ops managing 3 applications, because you cannot have all the data to make your decision on that. You have to manage a lot of way different kind of application to say, okay, there is some pattern recognizable by a software, and the software can take decision about that based on the data. Is there another question? Okay, we can all go to lunch. I have some cool stickers of Clever Cloud if you need it. Thank you very much.